Oh. Can't wait. I can't wait to destroy this room. Why did I choose to do it this week is just a terrible notion, honestly. Terrible, terrible notion all the way through. Hi, Conrad. Welcome in. Harry, Mr. Old Player, Go Galactic, Zier, Keep, Lizeth, Jurin, Legal, Wizard Rex. Welcome in, welcome in. Digging the vibe. You okay there? Welcome in, welcome. Are you changing rooms? No, I bought a whole bunch of paint. I bought a whole bunch of paintbrushes. I bought a whole lot of shelves. And I am destroying this room in the middle of exam week. So I'm going to be getting up early in the morning, staying up late. I'm going to paint this room. I'm going away on Saturday next week. So Sunday, this time next week is when you'll get to see the whole room revamped. Because it was a nickname given to me and I was pale white. So yeah, that's the origin of the name. I was also a vegetarian for a very long time. Not anymore, although kind of now that I feel much healthier, I think I'm gonna try going back, maybe at least a pescatarian diet. I've cut back on a lot of meat. Might as well. In the hot pot. Oh yeah, I love a good hot pot. Nostromo crew, yes! I got a really cool t-shirt. Yeah. No, so I it's just something in the last few weeks that I've been kind of leaning towards more vegetarian diet. And yeah, this week is the same. Did I buy any meat this week? I bought fish. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go with vegetarian-based diet again. Hi, Steve. Not fair. Streaming while out hunting Are you Pokemon hunting? I see. My goodness, I remember the days of when Pokemon Go was released. Oh, everyone was so happy and excited. Oh, is it vegan food or vegetarian food, Lumpy? Food with Chetna. Yeah, if you guys actually have great food recommendations, please do. I'm looking at my recipe books and I'm kind of, I don't know, lost my interest in those. Let me pop out YouTube as well. Pop out chat. There we go. So we can say hello to YouTubes. Her name was Food with Chetna. I will give her description. I'll check her out. Thank you so much. It's really hard to find good recipes on YouTube and online. Do you know why? It's because you go into this inspiration of like, I want to cook today. And you type in buzzwords into YouTube and the clickbait stuff that got all the views isn't actually that great. I know there are bomb recipes out there with really good videos, but you need to find accounts, I think. That's how you need to do it. You need to get past the clickbait hype videos that are really, really popular. Get over that and then, yeah. Yeah, Mediterranean cuisine, it does. Yeah, the thing about, like, I would flag it as a pescatarian diet, but my problem usually is that then every dish is fish. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of like, no, I would love to have some vegetarian options, including cheese and stuff like that. But usually when you say, oh, I'm a pescatarian, everything is just fish. And it's like, that's not what I meant. I can have fish. I'm happy with some fish. But I like variety too. Mark Stash on YouTube has great stuff. Thank you. Maybe a Mediterranean kind of thing to look up would be a good idea, yeah. Good morning. Hello, King Anna. Welcome in. Greek recipe. Oh, controversially with what you've stated there, Turin. Well, I don't know if it's that controversial, but I'm actually going to Cyprus in 2 weeks. Today's the 24th. 2 weeks? 1, 2. 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks and a bit. Yeah, I'm going in 2.5 weeks. I'm going to Cyprus for 4 days during a freaking amazing heat wave, of course. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've never been. Won't be able to do the touristy things that I really wanted to do because it's a bit too far away. But, you know, in the name of a bachelorette, I've got to participate in some events. I'm going to follow that account as well that you mentioned there. Dash. Yeah, I've never seen these videos. See, this is what I mean. Like, to be fair, he's quite large of a YouTuber, 687,000 followers, which is really, really large. But when you do type in the buzzwords of the food that you look for, they're usually, you know, they're really, really big accounts. But do you like beans? No. So anytime you look up vegan, vegetarian, it's always lentil and beans. And I'm like, I can't. Okay, so this is really bad, chat. I can't eat the following: peas, beans, aubergines, lentils, courgettes, squashes, pumpkins. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of those things. I don't like them. So, yeah. It might explain why I struggled so much when I was a vegetarian. Oh, love tomato and onions. Then everything else is fine. Yeah, like that's the thing, Shuri. Most vegetarian dishes use those. They're like the superfood. So yeah, I can't eat any of those things. Anything that looks phallic. I love cucumbers. So that's a minus there. No, yeah, so I love like cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers, onions, tomatoes, if I didn't say that already. Yeah. I think pretty much it's all the legumes. Is that like the bean stuff? Anything that looks bean-like. Lentils, beans, peas. Anything like that. And then anything that looks like a courgette or an aubergine or an eggplant or whatever you call those things. Anything that looks like that, I'm not a big fan of. Cucumbers are great. You can sneak into them. Highland. For example, there is a Russian dish we have which is called ikra, but not... Ikra can also mean something else. Baklajana ikra, which I think translates as courgette roe. Is that how you do it? Anyways, you roast the shit out of eggplants, basically, or aubergines. Again, I'm so sorry. I don't know the difference between all of them. And you roast them, you make them into a puree, and it's this puree that we put on sandwiches and toast. Very, very delicious. That I can eat. If you can disguise the aubergine or courgette so much that I don't know that it's there. No allergy, just spoiled brat, lumpy. I never liked it as a kid. I never was a big fan of beans or peas growing up. I think what happened was... No, like, I don't like that texture. I'm not a big fan of something tasting earthy with that mushy texture. Yeah, I just imagined eating beans. Disgusting. Disgusting. Oh, sorry. Eggplants are aubergines. Okay. Oh, sometimes there's courgettes and zucchini. Which one do I say in Ireland? Should I be saying courgettes? Which one in Ireland and UK do we say? Do we say eggplants or aubergines? And do we say courgettes or zucchini? Which one am I meant to be saying as a member of the civilized society? Aubergines and courgettes. Then zucchini and eggplants is American. Okay. Hi, Fifik. Welcome in. Welcome in. And a video here. I had never derived terminal velocity, which is the title of today's video, which is I'm interested in knowing how to do that. We're gonna have to talk about buoyancy, and viscous forces and stuff. But yeah, I don't know, maybe I did and I just missed it. I swear, I feel like I never covered fluid mechanics properly. Maybe I did and I scraped a pass or something. Maybe I got traumatized. That might explain a lot. Maybe I was so traumatized by fluid mechanics, it's just gone from my memory. I just really don't remember it at all anymore now. Of an European or an African swallow. Both, Kip. Both. Yeah, it does sound dire, so I'm interested to see if there is, because there's different levels of derivations for it. There's like their high school level can do it, I think, in an upper level mathematics or upper level physics course. So if a high schooler can do this, surely a tofu can. Take that with a grain of salt, of course. It was a decent film as well with Charlie Sheen. Terminal velocity being extremely and ultimately too late to catch your flight. Yeah, so I'm kind of interested to see. We might look up some derivations and, well, learn together. Because I don't know. How to solve those kind of things. I'm going to look through maybe a couple of stuff. So there's the differential equation for it. See if I remember my calculus. My calculus is quite rough. I used to be very good at it though. But I've only slowly started revising it again. I've been avoiding it a bit in the last few years. Not avoiding it, I'm not teaching it as much. Yeah, I don't get to teach calculus very much, so. I can introduce it, though. I think I might bring it back a little bit for some of the electronic stuff. I can't really bring it back for electronic devices, but maybe for DC-AC. There's a few nice derivations. Yeah. Do you know the derivation for average voltage in AC circuit? What is it? Average and RMS. There we go. The RMS stuff. I think there's calculus involved. Maybe I should bring it back then. Hi, Adham. Welcome in. Welcome in. Hello, Gertrude. I am the bestest Cora. How did you know? Oh, I'm looking great today. As Coraline Hu. The root mean squared. That's the one. So yeah, that's a calculus expression. So that might be a fun thing to learn or to bring back. I'm saying this not to you, chat, but this is to my own students. I know this sounds bad, but I always say it to my real students. Not that you guys aren't real. You're just an imaginary figure in my view. But hi, King. Oh, that's right. The amazing weather. Ooh, it was pretty nice today. I am very much not real. Hi, Eastwood. Welcome in. Welcome in. Hello. Hello, Park. Welcome in. Hope you're keeping well. I wasn't expecting an existential crisis this morning. You clearly should be showing up on the stream more often because we cover existential crises quite often, I would say. We're unreal. True, true. Every morning is a crisis. Exactly, exactly. So we're going to kind of, while people trickle in, Corby coming in with a 325 stream streak. Let's go. While people are in the community, in the chat, kind of slowly accumulating, what we'll do is we will clean up a little bit of electronics, and then we'll start with trying to understand the derivation for terminal velocity, because I don't know shit. That's the interesting part. We're going to learn together. Oops, I did it again to your heart. What I'm doing is I'm measuring a bunch of resistors. This is 5K. Okay, I have a 5K resistor. Learn together, exactly. This is 5K. Oh, lo and behold, chat, all of these are going to be 5K. Happy time zone. Hope your stream is going well. We just booted up the stream, so I hope it's going to go well too, but we'll find out. 100K. So I have two 5Ks and one 100K. I say 5K, but really it's 5.1 with a little bit of error in measurement, as we know. Actually, do I have the goal set correctly? No. Where's the goals? Sub only chat. Manage goals. Here we go. $15,000 followers for 15-hour stream. I don't know. This is a bit bold. Like, why am I doing this? Why am I... Wait. Wait. End goal. Why did it change to 14999 there? $15-hour stream. That's really tough. That's more than double my usual streams. That's actually a lot. Morning, Tofu and Chat. Hello, Mustache. Hi, Fable. Yes, I was looking at... The rocket equation might be actually technically easier. I might regret saying that, but... The rocket equation, at least I did before. That one I know. The terminal velocity one is the one I never did before. Kind of took it for granted. 5K? Hi, Medjay. How are you doing? 285 stream streak. Look at all these streakers in the chat. $10,000. Okay. So we have 220. 5. Oh, we're knocking on doors now. Jesus.
We don't want any more visitors, well-wishers, or distant relations.
And what about very old friends? Yuli, welcome in. Привет. How are you doing? I hope you and everyone else is doing well. I don't know how much I can say live on stream, but you know. I hope you're doing well. I'm high on medication. Let's fucking go. I mean, there's nothing like, you know, being high, but legally. I hope you're feeling a little bit better. I know we're having a heat wave in Europe at the moment. I don't know how it is for you in Egypt at the moment. And I know the heat wave isn't good for you, so I hope you don't have one. Right. Cleaned up my resistors, which is nice. 15 hours. That would be like 9 a.m. to midnight. My God, that's so long. 9 a.m. to midnight. That is so long. Jesus Christ. Why did I agree to that? Am I allowed to take back a goal, chat? Are goals allowed to be... Can I have backsies? Are backsies allowed? No take backsies. Hi, Esther. Welcome in, welcome in. Say... Set some little goals. I'm still waiting for... Oh my God, do you remember that? Those 123-hour streams. Ugh. That's true, actually. I don't have a Bambi cam, but I do have a 3D printer cam. Yeah, we used to have the tofu bot. And I'm so sorry the tofu bot isn't around much anymore. I feel bad. We should bring him back for even, like, something. Because, yeah. It was such a great idea back in the day when I was a full-time streamer. But... I wasn't able to, like, fulfill the promises, basically, as soon as I got a job. As soon as I got a job, I just couldn't keep up with them. It was all false promises, which was kind of rude and mean. She's very, very good. She had zoomies today. She keeps begging for food. She's in a great state, Kip. Hi, Kay. Welcome in. Have you ever done a 24-hour live stream? I attempted 3 in total. The first one, I failed at 19 hours. The second one for 1K followers. For 2K followers, I only lasted 10 hours. I got really sick live on stream. It was really bad. I got a fever and a cold. It was just an unfortunate coincidence. And the third one was on New Year's Day 2024. And I lasted 21 hours. Because why not? "21 hours is pretty impressive." Yeah, like I had 3 games and I finished 3 games on stream. I played like, not Neva, it was like a really nice game with lovely music and art. I forget the name of it though. Jay, you remember it, I think. It was beautiful artwork. We played Hellblade and one more game. I forget now. Deliver Us the Moon or something like that. 65 stream streak. Let's go. You also broke that tooth that one time during a longer stream. That was for a charity stream. Yeah, I broke a tooth during charity stream. Is there a rule against non-stop marathon streams? No, definitely not, because I see them all the time. I don't know. I don't know. There must be something about health and safety though, because like TOS does highlight like you can't hurt yourself. You can't, you know. There you go. As long as you don't exhibit dangerous behavior, which is very vague, you are safe. I mean, like, forcing yourself to stay awake for long periods of time is literally bad for your body, your mental health, and everything else in between. So you can't force yourself to stay awake, technically. Yeah. Yeah, one day isn't gonna... Look, Some of us have to do all-nighters. I had to do all-nighters as a PhD student in a lab. There was experiments that had to be run and nobody else could do it. I literally did this in my presentation, by the way. I'm sure all of the Mass Effect fans are going to love this, but it was so poetic. There was an experiment I had to run and it couldn't be anyone else who could do it because I built the whole freaking thing and it was my system, and if anything went wrong, nobody could figure out what would happen. So this experiment was so delicate. There were so many months in preparation to get it to work. And yeah, in my presentation, in my PhD defense, I quite literally quoted from Mass Effect saying, it had to be me. Somebody else would have gotten it wrong. Some of the continuous streams seem to be the ones that include things like words. Yeah, exactly. I've seen some of those kind of things. There's like records of people saying that they've streamed non-stop for so many years or whatnot. There's like crazy stuff. They have things like words of streams and things like that in place. Look, you need to shower. You need to do stuff. It had to be me. Someone else might have gotten it wrong. Exactly. It was a great game. Oh, Emily sees. I don't follow her. She's been famous for being live for years now. That's crazy. Thorlar, he's been streaming for he's going for a 10-year challenge where every day, minimum once a day, he streams. And I think he's on year 9 now. I could be wrong, but he's like really close. I got to actually meet Thorlar in TwitchCon last year. Are any of you guys going to TwitchCon EU this year? I think it's next week, yeah. I think so. I know a few of my American friends are already in Europe ahead of time for mini holidays and stuff. I do live here, so I have no choice anyway. Well, are you going to actual TwitchCon, though? Or are you kind of similar to what you did last year, kind of just meeting up with people outside of it? Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever do a 24-hour stream again. Like, it really ruins your sleeping schedule and stuff, and I'm so proud of getting my life together the last couple of years. Yeah, it's kind of like alcoholism. Again, I don't want to put parallels because one is, you know, very serious, and I don't want to negate it at all. But the parallel that I make is that it's kind of like alcoholism in the sense of you're good when you stay good, but the minute you have another sip, everything, it's not like, oh, you have a little sip and you're fine. It all goes downhill. So the same with my sleeping schedule, my insomnia. If I fuck up even once, my whole life just goes into disarray even. So that's why I'm kind of careful that I don't want to do that. 15-hour streams is fine. That's 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. I'll get up really, really early. To 12 p.m. That's doable. I'll be exhausted and I'll be so tired and so grumpy. So for Zarp, don't test my patience during that 15-hour stream. Exactly. It's not worth. It's not worth. Just checking some stuff here. Only a few panels maybe on the whole way. Yeah, no, that's fair, Churin. 15 hours is just an average lab rat shift. That is true. 15 hours is a general lab rat shift. That's right. Working 9 to 5. Okay, I'm gonna keep doing some label makers. So another label maker I want is radio. I have a little... I bought stuff to build a radio. I will go back and I will try to build a radio. But for a radio, I feel like I need to learn how a radio works better. I know a lot of the components, the tank circuit part and all those kind of things, but the op amp is something I need to learn more. Actually, that would be a goal. I need to learn how an op amp works properly. It's out of the scope of my research and my education and teaching, but... Hi Lana, how are you today? We must understand the patience. To understand it, we must test it. Listen here, you little shit. Little shit. Oh, this is so cool for me to teach on the whiteboard. Look, look, look. And today's class. Together, lambda is equal to natural log 2 over the half-life. Lambda, therefore, in carbon 14 is 0.693 divided by 5,730 years, which gives us the decay constant of 1.21 by 10 to the minus 4 per year. Hi, Mord. Welcome in, welcome in. 0.69. Nice. There's a 3 there. Don't be forcing a nice when there isn't a nice in there. I hope you're doing well, Lana. And I hope... yeah, you're with Bruce. How's the weather at the moment? Are you guys getting heat stroked? Speaking of heat strokes, Naz, are you surviving the gorgeous? I was going to check what our weather is. What's our weather now?
Precious.
It doesn't tell me. What temperature is it outside? Eskimo, thank you so much for your resub. Really, really appreciate the prime. Thank you. You're very, very kind. It's very hot here. Okay. Are you going to be streaming then today? So I'm going to have a little shelf for radio parts. Not going to close fully, but close enough. I have a ferrite rod and everything to put into that shelf. Star, thank you so much for the resub. 32 months.
We don't want any more visitors, well-wishers, or distant relations.
And
what about very old friends? Thank you guys for the resubs. Really, really appreciate it. And thank you so much for the PP points. I'm just in from a morning of golf in the sun. Oh, Jesus. Jesus, you fancy pansies. Fancy pansies. Are you familiar with MEM sensors? I've heard of it. Do I know that word? But not very much so, of course. It was a plan, but the heat makes me feel very sleepy. I'm afraid I might fall asleep during brick building. But might do some RE4. Oh. Okay. RE4 is so good. I hope you're absolutely having a blast with that game. It's so good. So good. One of my favorite games of all time. We did a ranking. I think Resident Evil 4 was up there with Subnautica, right? I'm trying to remember what was my top 3. Does anyone remember when we ranked the games? Where it ranked? Right. So these are titled pins. How did the front page go? It was good. We weren't crazy on the front page. We were just on the carousel. And I think we reached peak 2,000 viewers. Yeah, it was fine. Like, we didn't have too many new people coming in, and yeah, I was worried. Like, that's why I pinned the mods and say, look, heads up, lads, because we're going to be 2 women talking about STEM on the front page and talking about boobs on mannequins.
Admirable hobbits.
Cheering, thank you so much for gifting 5 gift subs.
And I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve.
Thank you so much. You're very, very kind. Oh, a total of 200 on this chat. We have a thing. We have a thing. Do we have a hype train? We do have a hype train. Choo choo.
you!
That corner part of subs for tank tutorial. Ugh. The good old Heroes of the Storm days. Ugh. Oh, I'm so glad, Epiphus, you got a gift sub. I hope you enjoy the emotes. Medjay in the chat there, his username in yellow, is the wonderful artist of this whole channel. So I hope you enjoy those emotes to the fullest extent. But always, Medjay, when I compliment him, he always uses that emote, and that's like one of the 3 emotes he hasn't done. I always find that funny. There's like, you have unlimited access, Jay, to tofu emotes, but you spam the one that you didn't draw. Chat is very well, it was. Yeah, it was. It was very good. And yeah, we had great, awesome time with Chloe. Chloe talked about loads of stuff, and she gets to work with space stuff. I think that's cool. Being a contributing member for things that land on the moon. I don't know, man. That's like life goals. Hi, Floatware. Welcome in, welcome in. Yeah. All right, I cleaned up all the resistors. Let me see what else I have lying around here. I think this is the pressure sensor. 10 stream streak. Today is this room in pieces. Yes. So starting tomorrow night? Tuesday. I think Tuesday properly. Monday I'm really busy. I have my students, a lot of works to do. Dentist, Bambi vet visit, drinks that night. So I think I'm too busy on Monday. But Tuesday is where I really start to kick off and take this room apart. Hi there. Hello, Starry Joe. Welcome in. So this is the pressure sensor that we weren't able to test properly. I was so excited about the Artemis launch, and I thought about the pressure sensors. I was like, yes, we can buy pressure sensors and do some tests. And then my stupid brain, how am I supposed to change the pressure? How in this room am I supposed to change air pressure? So I have a syringe and stuff, but it's still a lot of work, man. I don't know. My brain is dissociated from the other part of my brain. I come up with ideas, and then Bambi all health again? Yes. As of, in fact, this morning, she had her first morning Zoomie, so I think she's completely back to her usual self. She hadn't done Zoomies with us in a while, so we're kind of, yeah. But we're lucky she's a glutton. The problem with GI stasis is that if your bunny isn't a glutton, you might not notice it in time. And that's why they die so quickly. That's why bunnies can die so suddenly. But how do I put it? Because Bambi loves food so much, we were able to catch her being sick so early. Pressure sensor. So the shelf here filled with stuff. We can check out what this is. I noticed that you have a background of applied physics and battery area, which is really, yeah. I have a master's in applied physics and a PhD in battery technology. So I should cover relatively most areas. So what is this? All right, I have a bunch of these guys that I got accidentally. Oh, this is a nano. We might need to look up what this guy is, chat. Okay, I'm going to give you homework while I sort out a few bits and pieces. Hype train complete. Choo choo. Thank you guys so much for the resub. Really appreciate it. And Turin, thank you so much for gifting everyone a gift sub. You've supported this. Sorry, I muted myself there. Very rude, as I was thanking Turin. Okay, chat, we might have an issue. It doesn't actually have a code. I'm gonna show it to you. The chip might have a code. Okay, are we ready for this, team? PC F8574T. I'll repeat it again. PC F8574T. I don't think so. I think that was an air pressure only Zier. How do you experiment with state of charge balancing in the real world? Or is it only verified through simulations? That's actually how my whole PhD research. No, so it's almost nothing is done simulation wise, not in real battery technology anyway. It's all done with different methods. Every battery has its own kind of thing. Usually it's voltaic, some sort of voltage current measurement that determines the state of charge. Most battery technology works under a Nernst equation, so it's not a flat line where it's operating perfectly. It's ever so slightly sloped. So it would generally work based on the voltage output. You would be able to determine its state of charge operation. But there's other ways depending on, you know, what technology it is. And that was really a lot of my research about. I did volumetrical analysis and spectroscopic analysis, and you can do it both in situ and ex situ. So I was able to do that and prove it in theory. Plastic bowl with a lid, take a small hole, hot glue. I need a hot glue. That's something I don't own. For someone who, you know, makes stuff in this room, I'm surprised I don't have a hot glue gun. Right, so we have a link here as to what that is. I think that's just the chip that's inside it, but it's an integrated chip. Is that what we're looking up? I think is just this chat. It's not the whole system. What is this? So, are you wondering, Tofu, why do you have something you don't know? There were a few things I had to buy before. And sometimes you can only buy it or is a better deal for getting the stuff that you needed, but with other stuff. And this came with it. And I can't remember what it was for. It's so weird. Why does the packet not say? I guess those pins are IO. It doesn't seem to be any other sensor on board. There's a pot, I think. There's a ground voltage SDA and an SCL. We have data and a clock. We have something here. I'm not actually sure what this is. I'll show you this pin at the end. The tail. Whatever that end pin is. Is it this? That looks like it. Yeah. What is that? It's a remote 8-bit I/O expander for an I2C bus. Exact thing that you guys said. What does that mean? What does that actually mean? In plain English, what does this do, chat? It would change the pressure praise, but not enough, I would say. I could be wrong, but... yeah. I would say no. It's not enough. I would assume this little cheap thing, I would need like some hardcore pressure. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm naive. And that's fine. but I assumed that there wouldn't be anything that I would recreate quickly. General purpose input output. At the bottom, it has applications, keypad, and switch control, relays, timer, LED. I don't know why I'm struggling with this. Am I slow today? Can you give me an example of how I would use this, chat? Just an example. Very basic, if you can explain it to me. How does the clock work here? The IC, okay, the chip, okay. The pot then, is it analog? It gives several more general IOP pins to your, oh! Oh, so this is just an extension for an Arduino. Basically, I connect this to an Arduino. And I get extra pins to work with. Is that a fair statement? So I would connect this to my Nano or my Uno because I need more control pins. Is that a fair statement? Hey. Sounds like it. Okay. So if I were to give this a name for my labeling, for labeling purposes, what would I label it as? The question now. It has to be short because our label maker's limited. Bob. No. Bob is gone. Bob is gone. A GPIO expander. That sounds good, but that's already long. I would say GPIO then. Thingamajig. No, I can't keep calling things thingamabobs or thingamajigs. I'm running out of thingamabobs and thingamajigs. It's getting bad, lads. It's getting really bad. GPIO plus. Oh, maybe I have a plus sign. That'd be nice. I always print out the datasheet and put it with the part. I couldn't fit that in there. How do you fit your stuff then? Hello, hello guys. Welcome in, welcome in. Hello, hello. Hello. I hope you're all keeping well. So we have another Nano here. So, in this one we have sensors, and we have a few divisions, because we only have a couple of sensors, so we might as well, you know, get stuff done. So what I'll do here is I will put my infrared sensor. So I got two infrared sensors, the one that I'm using for my, what is it called? Project. My tricorder project. This is the most expensive piece of electronics I've ever bought. It cost me 15 euro. This cost me 15 euro. But we need to label it so that we don't forget what it is. Although I feel like I'm always so confident. It's like, I'm never going to forget this. And every time, chat, every time, I forget it. Like clockwork. We're going to call this infrared. And the good news is it does have a pin. There we go. The shelf done. This is my pin headers. I have a whole case of them, so it'll be nice to put them away. And then these guys are GPIOs, call them. GPIO. I don't... Oh, do I have a plus sign? I don't have a plus sign. Aw. GPIO is fine. Could be worse. Alright, a little bit of sorting done. Shouldn't spend too much time on this. A cleaning stream must be very boring for you guys. So we might move on to learning about terminal velocity, because that's something I don't know much about. We'll see about the derivation. We'll try to take it step by step. We'll learn it together. Together! We might look at like 2 or 3 tutorials and see which one explains the best. And learn the best way possible. We might even Wikipedia it first, get a nice general gist. Although I think I know the general gist of it. I'm sorry for pointing pointy, sharp things at you, chat. Ugh. I didn't mean it in a threatening manner, I promise. Hey. A lot of electronics cleaned up, actually. Nice little bits and bobs. Yeah. My coffee's almost done. That's how fast you have to run when you land on a gate 1 and the next flight is at gate 45, leaving in 15 minutes, right? Close enough, close enough. We'll look at terminal velocity and see if there is a wiki page on it or something like that. A nice little... Yeah, there is. There's a wiki page on terminal velocity. We can have a read on it. Wiki's generally okay. There's a couple of equations. Might be too advanced for us, but it'll be a nice thing to kind of get an overview. Then we'll look into some derivations from people. And we're going to see how it works. So there's a calculus derivation. It might be a bit more advanced for us. But also, fuck it, we kind of don't do differential equations very often in this community. So it might be an interesting one to do together. Have a bit of fun, a bit of crack, as we say. On a Sunday, doing calculus. Who knew? Who knew? So, yeah, I think that's nice. That's a nice idea. So, will we take a quick break? I'll make myself an apple juice iced beverage because it is very hot in Ireland. When we come back, we're going to Wikipedia stuff about terminal velocity, see if we can learn anything interesting. And then I'll go to the whiteboard and we will actually try and derive it. Yeah, exactly. It's the balance point between gravity and air resistance. And derive the equation and understand it a bit better. Because like I said, for some reason, this is something that I never studied. I studied the rocket equation, but I never studied this. So, you know what? Time to learn. Are you going to TwitchCon this year, Japer? It seems like I know a lot of Twitch streamers going, but I've asked my community, or like just nosed around. A lot of people don't seem to be going this year. I don't know if that's a fair assumption. It's just in my cluster of humans that I speak to, it seems that not too many people are going this year. But that is a very naive and narrow view. Not this year. Want to take a little break in between, but yeah. Yeah, no, I'm... wait, you speak to humans sometimes, I'm forced to, yeah. A lot of people want me to play with humans in Elite Dangerous, and I kind of don't want to. Oh, about Elite Dangerous. So I know you all want to see my reaction to a lot of things, so what I might do is I might record a short of me going to a black hole system on the Steam Deck. So it'll be a Steam Deck of me and the game. I know it's terrible, but like I don't think I have the balls or the audacity to stream the game live. I'm too scared. Yeah. Like the black hole being the size of my monitor is so terrifying to me. Is this a sponsored stream? Not exactly. Why? Was there a joke? Was I sponsoring something? Spaghetti. No, just asking. I should have branded content on Twitch, do I? Yes. So if you're asking about the branded content, it's because I'm associated with peeps, like Creality 3D, Makira, Carvera, Air, hopefully other stuff down the line. But I don't know how the law works in the US, but in Europe and Ireland we have a strict kind of rule about sponsorship. Like if I was given anything for free, I have to say that it's sponsored. I have to be honest and open about it. It's just some of the laws here. So even though this isn't a proper hardcore sponsor stream, as in I'm not doing anything proper sponsored, just because I'm in the presence of free items, I have to claim that I'm being sponsored. As far as I'm concerned, I read over the rules. I'm trying to follow the law to the T. I'm trying to be honest. Have you played any flying sims? No, Elite Dangerous is my first flying sim, Krabby. So yeah, it's it's been a unique experience. Sponsored in my heart. Yeah, I don't know what it's like in the US as well, but in Ireland, like, we have to also pay tax on anything we get. So even if sometimes I get something for free, I still have to pay taxes on it. So, unfortunately. Try GE Advanced 2026 questions. I've seen loads of people posting them, Gugu. I'm not sure what new I can provide. Like the YouTube videos that I do, I always try to make them unique or rare videos. And there's so many JE content online. Hello, Inkling in a bottle. What would you I know there's so many names you go by. Let me know what you prefer. But I do yeah. I always thought it was Inkling. It was a pun on Inkling. I'm just gonna go with it, I guess. Hi, Kenny. I honestly don't mind. Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, what we'll do is we'll take a quick break here. When we come back, we are going to go through the Wikipedia of terminal velocity, just learn a bit about the history and the development of the equations, look at some of the equations, and after that we might look at a tutorial or a guide of the derivation. I'm going to look at the derivation and we're going to write it on the board and we're going to sit there and figure it out, basically. We're going to sit there and try and figure it out, where these equations come from. Classical derivation experience. So I don't know if this is what you planned on doing on a wonderful sunny Sunday afternoon. A Klein bottle. In a Klein bottle. Yeah, no. Do tell us, what is your name? In a Klein bottle. Is that what it's meant to be? A Klein bottle is a special shape. Is it? Okay. You've ruined the name for me. I always called you Inkling. Klein is Dutch for small. I wonder the purpose behind that one. I just opened up the Wikipedia. We'll be back in a few minutes, chat. It's also a novel character. Oh, yeah? A Klein bottle is an unorientable surface in mathematics. It also has no ends. Ah! You have a very nerdy username. And I didn't know. How dare you present yourself as a nerd and not present yourself as a nerd at the same time? What are you? A Schrodinger nerd? I'll see you guys in a little bit. It's just a number. It's just being multiplied on one side. So to move it to the other side, we're going to divide it. And to get rid of the log, we put everything to the power of 10. The side of the equation that has the log, it just disappears. But the side of the equation that doesn't have the log is put to the power of. In our case, that is 10 to the power of beta over 10. Rearrange the equation to find I on its own, and we have all the numbers. We have what the threshold of hearing is. We know that the decibel is 75, and 10 is just a number. Multiply them all out, and voila. The intensity of the room is 3.2 by 10 to the minus 5 watts per meter squared. As you can see, that was a mouthful of a sentence to say. And that is why we tend to not use intensity to measure sound when we're conversing in everyday language. Decibels is a little bit easier to talk about. Happy sounding. What does the sun, Chernobyl, and a banana have in common? I know they don't walk into a bar. All of these things have radioactive properties, and I just want to talk a little bit about radioactive units. The reason I wanted to do this video is because there's so many, and I didn't realize just how many there are. The first one we're going to talk about is Becquerel. You might know him because he did win a Nobel Prize alongside Pierre and Marie Skłodowska-Curie. The unit Becquerel describes the disintegration that occurs per second. Multiply that number by 37 billion and you have the Curie. This is the conventional unit of activity. Another unit associated with radioactivity is Gray. It is described as the absorption per matter. So the unit would be joule per kilogram. This would be a very important aspect in medicine, for example. Another form of this unit is rad. You probably encountered this if you played Fallout. 1 rad is equal to 0.01 Gray. That is how the rad is defined nowadays, but back in the day it was defined slightly differently. It was defined as 100 ergs absorbed per 1 gram of matter, and ergs was just 10 to the minus 7 joules. Another unit that was used in the past a lot is the unit Röntgen. If you watched the BBC Chernobyl TV show, you would recognize that this was the standard unit that they were using. This is expressed as the unit of exposure to radiation. From 1930s onwards, it was the standard unit used to discuss radiation and radioactivity. It is defined as the electric charge freed by the radiation in 1 cubic centimeter of air divided by the mass of the air. The problem with this unit was it was only talking about the radiation that actually traveled through air, and we know that sometimes that's not the case. We're talking about human bodies, that there's direct contact as well, and all of these things need to be taken into consideration. Around that time we also had REM, a Röntgen equivalent man. This was basically associated with Röntgen, but it was talking about the effective dose. It was the value representation of how much it takes to start damaging the body. 1 REM is 0.01 sievert. And what is a sievert? The sievert is the SI unit where we represent the dangerous radiation. The sievert is an SI unit to represent the dangers of the ionization radiation. It is defined as the probability of getting cancer and genetic mutation due to the exposure of radiation. 1 sievert is equal to 100 rem. There's probably a lot more units out there, but this is just a quick summary, and if I left anything out, please let me know. In physics and English, we use the same words, but sometimes they have slightly different meaning, and here's 3 funny ones that you might have encountered, or maybe you haven't heard of. Number 1 is weight, and if you did any introduction to physics, they really drill you in the beginning that these are 2 different concepts. In English we say weight, but what we mean is 1 kilogram of flour is its weight. However, what we actually mean is mass in physics. Weight would be if we multiplied it by gravity. It's the W is equal to mg relationship. Number 2 is the concept of theory. In English we say, ooh, I have a theory that this might have happened, which might have little to no evidence to back up your theoretical claims. However, in physics, a theory is really well established. In fact, that's pretty much the final statement of a discovery or understanding in physics. For example, we have the theory of gravity, and I don't know about you, but personally I won't be jumping out the window anytime soon to try and disprove it. And finally, we have male and female parts, and this is not just in physics, this is interchangeable in a lot of technological terms. We have the female and male parts of cables, banana clips, all these kind of sorts of things. I hope I don't have to explain what the English of that is. If you have any other examples in mind, please share in the comments. Welcome to Physics of Video Games, and today we are doing physics of Baldur's Gate 3. Specifically, this incident that happened live on my Twitch stream.
Let's see what this does.
I'm not sure about that, but okay. I gave Bambi watermelon. And she took it and she flicked me twice. She flicked the back of her feet to me, which in bunny language translates as fuck you. Twice! Twice she flicked me. So she took watermelon from me and told me to fuck off twice. The most spoiled, rotten rabbit in this world. I don't know, she loves watermelon. Yeah, I think banana's still her favorite, number 1. Number 2 is watermelon. Number 3 is blueberries. Those are her top 3 favorite things. Based on butt twitches. It's the only measurable thing I have to compare how happy she is. Hi, Steck. Welcome in. Welcome in. I love your streams. Oh, I'm glad you're able to hang out with us. If so, do you rate them? How do you rate them out of 10? I don't know what to say. Like, they're very, very difficult. But it's not even just JEE. There's a few other curriculums out there that have very difficult advanced physics questions. You can look into some really interesting ones from Korea. There's a few ones from the Middle East. The issue and concern I always have with them is how advanced they are to the early stages of development. And the system of filtering people in schools. It's why the schools and universities are so competitive, but it just stops so many people from getting a step up. It's very, very sad. Like, I'm complaining about the Irish curriculum, and in comparison I shouldn't be complaining, but like, there's so many exam paper questions that are based on practical experiments that many universities and schools don't have access, they don't have money, they don't have funding to get those experiments. And oh, sorry, it just grinds my gears. Okay, I'm fine. I'm not angry anymore. It's fine, chat. I'm fine. Everything's fine. But yeah, no, it just pisses me off sometimes. You know, public schools, they're not giving money to the schools, they're setting exam papers in the schools, and they don't even provide the equipment for the schools. Reggie, hello! Welcome in. You came in at a moment of us raging a little bit at education systems. Hello, how are you doing? How are you keeping? How was your stream today? What were you guys doing? Butt twitches per kilogram. It's a statistical expression. It's a ratio, Zier. Ah, you were playing Split Fiction. If I may ask, who were you playing Split Fiction with? I'm going to get the whiteboard out now. Playing with Amanda. I don't know who Amanda is, but I hope it went well. Maybe Reggie needs to dash and run, if that's the case. Welcome in, Raiders. My name is Tony Toxic Talk. I stream science and technology stuff. And the thing that we're doing today is I actually haven't covered terminal velocity, or if I did, it's been at least 10 years. So what we're doing is we're going to revise. My name is not Amanda. Armada, welcome in, welcome in. Hi, John. Hope you're keeping well. Happy Science Sunday. Ooh, I like that. I'm going to be streaming more over the summer. And like, I wanted to add more structure to my schedule. So maybe Science Saturday. And then I was thinking about streaming more on Mondays and Wednesdays. So mundane Mondays or something. We need to come up with a nerdy themed Monday word. A nerdy themed Wednesday word. Chat. Homework for you. Come up with the nerdy thing for Mondays and Wednesdays. Tuesdays is too easy. Tinker Tuesday. Cool. The other side clean? It is. Good job, past tofu. Mechanicals Monday? Mechanic Mondays? Okay. Hi, Jack. Welcome in. Welcome in. I came up with Soldering Sunday, but Wednesday's tricky. Yeah, Soldering Sunday, Science Saturday. Yeah. Wacky Wednesdays. Okay, okay. Wacky Wednesday is not bad. That's the one to beat. Molecular Monday, Mass Monday, Magnetic Monday. Mass Monday sounds like we're going to church. Magnetic Monday, maybe. Waveform Wednesday? Mass Monday church, exactly. Manic Monday? Okay, Manic Monday. Wormhole Wednesday. Ooh. I don't do anything with wormholes though. My idea, hopefully, is that I do like 3 streams a week, one of them proper physics teaching, kind of like what we're doing now, even though I'm actually, you know, not doing anything. And then Mondays and Wednesdays are dedicated to building. Wreck-It Wednesday. Ooh, okay, yes. So something about building or taking over the world or sound like we're insane. You subtract sleep, add anxiety, multiply the workload, and divide the happiness.
What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky.
Try and take over the world. Workshop Wednesday, Welding Wednesday. That's right. It's just basically soldering. That's a fair point. I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah. We'll come up. We might use them every week. We'll use Wacky Wednesday one week, Workshop Wednesday another, World Domination Wednesday. There we go. Vest Banana. Hello. Welcome in. Welcome in. Well, I cleaned the whiteboard, but I just realized that it's too early to do anything with that whiteboard at the moment. In the sense of we're going to have to do some research first before we continue. World domination. We'll do what we do every day, Pinky. Try and take over the world. So we'll go in here. Sorry, let me fix the camera so you guys can see a bit better. After all, I am the most important person here. I know. Stop. Chat, you guys are embarrassing me. Stop giving me compliments. It's just too much. It's just too much. Oof, 24. Jesus, what's with our water temperature IQ chat? Jesus Christ. It's a bad day to be a lab rat today, clearly. It's a bad day. Oh my god, what is going on with that command today? Lol. Tautology Tuesday. Ooh, not bad, not bad. I like that quantum gravity. You mean there are good days to be alive? Some days when you survive the mines and you have a high IQ, that's a good day to be a lab rat. Another 24 Sage. I'm not drinking alcohol in case anyone's going to accuse me. Because there's been accusatory tones about alcohol in the stream. This is apple juice. The accusatory tone is someone highlighted, I think it was on my YouTube VODs, saying, you know, every stream I notice you always have a drink, you know, drinking every day is not good for you. And I pointed out, I was like, oh my god, most of my streams, I only stream once or twice a week and it's always on a Saturday or Sunday. So the one drink a week I have is always on the Saturday. And from the perspective of the VODs, it looks like I drink every time. Oh, it just looks so bad. But no, I promise, I am not an alcoholic. The one drink a week I have is the one time I stream and play games. Hi, Yash. I am. So, we have a large community. If you wish, you're more than welcome to hang out with us. But I am also keeping an eye on YouTube too. Are you going to solve problems on the whiteboard? What we're doing is I'm going to read through what terminal velocity is and the concepts very briefly on Wikipedia. And then I'm going to go and look up a derivation for it. I'm going to sit there and we're going to understand it. It's one thing to see the solution for the derivation, but really to really learn derivations, we need to understand it. So that's what my goal is today. I'm curious to know. Because I haven't done this. If I have done this, done this? If I did done this? No, this is wrong. If I have covered this, here we go, much better. It was at least 10 years ago, if not longer, so. Hi, Bendrail. Hello, Daniel. Welcome in. Hi, Peter. Change the name for alcoholic tofu. Yes, so I'd like to highlight chat, because I only stream once or twice a week, and you see me drink a can of beer once per stream. I promise you that is all you see. That is me drinking alcohol for the rest of Tofu has a problem. I know. It looks so bad. Oh. All right, let's have a quick look. Terminal velocity. If we say someone is terminal, chat, what do we usually mean? Sorry, my Surviving Mars playlist is kind of epic. I'm going to put Baldur's Gate peaceful music on instead. Terminal velocity, when we say someone is terminal, is that, well, they're going to die. They're at the end. And so terminal velocity is in the name. It's the maximum, the final velocity that can be achieved. And what is that all about? Well, when you drop something, it falls due to the force of gravity, due to the attraction of the center of mass of the earth pulling it down, right? So I drop this phone, it drops down. I'm not going to do it because it's going to smash and break. That being said, I've dropped that phone many times and it hasn't broken yet. But I digress. In the end, though, hence terminal, in the end, when things fall, they speed up. The acceleration due to gravity on the surface of the Earth is 9.81 meters per second squared, which means that every second that passes, the velocity changes by 9.81 meters per second. So after 1 second of falling, the speed of the object would be 9.81. After 2 seconds, the speed will be 19 point whatever meters per second. I know maths, I promise. And so on and so forth. Terminal velocity states something very interesting. When we say that something speeds up and will be at the speed of 9.81 meters per second after 1 second, what we're actually assuming is that there is no air resistance, and that is not true. Air resistance exists, and I know, shocker, clutch your pearls and clutch your handbags and gasp. We are actually going to be talking about air resistance on the stream for the first time. We are going to have to take it into consideration, because if you're going from a really, really high surface and you're dropping something, let's say ourselves, we're dropping out of a plane, there is going to be a moment where the force of gravity is pulling us and speeding us up to the point that the air resistance is equal and opposite and counters it. So at some point, there is no net force acting on the falling body, i.e. us. So remember what force is. It's equal to mass times acceleration. There is not going to be any net acceleration. You're going to hit a final velocity, let's say, I'm making up a number, 500 meters per second. That's really, really fast. You are traveling at 500 meters per second, and that's it. So you're still going down, I'm still falling, but you're not speeding up anymore. That is what terminal velocity is. It's that final speed where you're not speeding up anymore because the two forces, gravity and air resistance, counter each other perfectly. And so there is no acceleration. You're not speeding up anymore. You are still going to fall, and you are still going to splat if you don't open up that parachute fast enough. But air resistance doesn't exist because of physics. True. That is a statement that can be made on the stream for sure. Is IQ compared to your real IQ? No, so the 80, my IQ, according to the bot, is 80 IQ. And the story is that I did an IQ stream. I was celebrating something a couple of years ago. And I got scammed on one of those websites. So you know what? Probably a a fair reflection of 80 IQ on my part. So I got scammed and it told me my IQ was 80. It was funny. Everyone laughed. Haha. It scammed €30 off me. Anyways, after that, I think I did an IQ test on stream and I got 126, I think it was. But it wasn't proper. We were sitting there, we were with chat, we were messing. In reality, I'd probably have to take it properly again, but roughly 120 is it. Don't take any one of those things seriously. I'm not a big fan of the IQ test. Just after taking it, I don't see how that was a measure of intelligence at all. Don't take it personally. It's all just a bit of memes and shenanigans. Hi, Jimmy. Welcome in. Welcome in. You paid for... accidentally. I didn't even mean to. I wasn't meant to pay anything to it and I got scammed. Yeah, I fell for a scam online. Oh, okay, there we go, Jimmy. Yeah, well, it was a fine print kind of trap. Okay. Terminal velocity is the maximum speed attainable by an object as it falls through a fluid, and it turns out, chat, air is a fluid. It is reached when the sum of the drag force and the buoyancy is equal to the downward force of gravity. So there's two forces. I simplified air resistance, but it's really drag and buoyancy. Since the net force on the object is zero, the object has zero acceleration. So it's not speeding up anymore. For objects falling through air at normal pressure, the buoyant force is usually dismissed and not taken into account, as its effects are negligible. So we don't take into effect buoyancy. I think we do if we're a bumblebee or something very, very small. Could be wrong in that. Hi, Motion. Welcome in, welcome in. Hello, Black Lightning. Can you study in any environment? Me, personally, or a general statement? I don't know. That's an interesting question. I'm not sure. But bumblebees can't fly anyway. Living up to an old lady streamer. Exactly, exactly. You put your credit card on a random website. Did you know that we pay for goods and services on the internet? Yes. I did use it for that. Hi, Bobster.
Call it a mine.
22-month streak. Thank you so much for the resub. Thank you so much for the PP points. It is very warm today. We have lovely weather today. It's fantastic weather in Ireland today. Perfect weather for streaming indoors and talking about escape velocity. What better day to do that than today? Oh yeah, sorry Jimmy, you were saying about my Nostromo shirt. I am glad I got it. It is really, really cool. It's very niche because like many people have watched Alien, but not many people are like, well, get this, you know. Sorry, I burped. Ooh. Jesus, my lenses are very dirty. Can't see shit. Have you self-studied mathematics or anything? If so, what topics? Oh, most of the stuff that I teach is self-studied. So what I mean by that is, when I was a student and I studied everything that I know, I studied for the exam. When I became a teacher, I had to relearn everything and actually understand everything. So I feel like almost everything that I know now is pretty much self-studied. Loads of resources online. There's some great textbooks as well that exist. So a lot of it is self-taught. So a lot of the subjects I teach, electronic devices, DC/AC fundamentals, all of that, all self-taught. I didn't actually do a subject like that. Not many people have watched Alien, but not many people have watched Alien. I'm trying and having finals for physics. Everyone studies differently. I do have a YouTube video, Black Lightning, called How to Actually Learn Physics. Now, it won't help if you're studying for finals and you're in a rush now. It's a bit too late now, kind of thing. But I do recommend maybe having a quick look at the video and seeing if there's any helpful advice that you can take in. But with most studying things, it's all about trying methods and seeing what works for you and doing what you think works for you. That's the only thing I can say. We're all really cool and individual and amazing people. We're very unique and we perceive the world very uniquely. So any advice I give you is going to be redundant. You're going to live your life differently to me and study differently. As the speed of an object increases, so does the drag force acting on it, which also depends on the substance it is passing through, for example, air or water. At some speed, the drag or force of resistance will be equal to the gravitational pull of the object. At this point, the object stops accelerating and continues to fall at a constant speed, calling terminal velocity. Oh, it's also called settling velocity. I've never really heard of that one before. An object moving towards faster than the terminal velocity, for example, it was thrown downwards, it fell from a thinner part of the atmosphere or changed shape, will slow down until it reaches the terminal velocity. Drag depends on the projected area, here represented by the object's cross-sectional area or silhouette in the horizontal plane. An object with a large projected area relative to its mass, such as a parachute, has a lower terminal velocity than one with a small projected area relative to its mass, such as a dart. So that's a very interesting point. If you guys watched the Artemis 2 launch and the landing, and do you remember when they landed, they said something like the parachutes were really heavy. I remember the statement that they made of how much the parachutes weighed, and I was like, that is heavy as heck. How the hell does it work? Well, it's got to do, what's important to point out, it's got to do with its projected area relative to its mass. That ratio is what's really important with parachutes. Is that, fine, you can have something really, really, really heavy, but as long as the surface area that it covers is significantly large, it can maybe, hopefully, compensate for it. That's the idea anyway. This is because the downward force, i.e. the weight of something, is proportional to the cube of the linear dimension, but the air resistance is approximately proportional to the cross-sectional area, which increases only as the square of the linear dimension. For very small objects such as dust and mist, the terminal velocity is easily overcome by convection currents, which can prevent them from reaching the ground at all, and hence they stay suspended in the air for indefinite periods. Air pollution and fog are example. That's a very important point. Similar to a barge. What's a barge? Barge. Welcome in, by the way. Barge. Oh, those guys. Oh, is that what it's called? To be fair, I know what you pointed out to be, and I thought I knew what the word barge was. I didn't know that those two things could be put together. There we go. It's the ship, yeah. It's a flat kind of ship for cargo. Based on air resistance, for example, the terminal velocity of a skydiver in a belly to earth, because remember the cross-sectional area is really important. This is how skydivers can increase their speed and slow down their speed. Have you noticed that in action movies, they'll put their face down and, you know, do a Naruto move, diving through the air? That's to increase their speed. To slow down, they will place themselves horizontally and increase their surface area. This is to reduce their speed in this way. If you are increasing the surface area of yourself, you're going to slow down. If you decrease the surface area of yourself, you're going to speed up. So that's how parachuters are able to do some cool moves. Is about 55 meters per second. So belly to earth, so that flat kind of position that I said, their terminal velocity is roughly 55 meters per second. That's not that fast. What is 55 meters per second in kilometers per hour? How many seconds in an hour? It's 3,600, right? 198 kilometers per hour. Okay, that was a lot faster than I thought. I'm stupid. Don't listen to me. That's really, really fast. That is extremely fast. Extremely fast, chat. Ignore everything and anything I say. I'm clearly talking out of my arse. To almost 200 kilometers per hour. It's very fast. This speed is the asymptotic limiting value of the speed, and the forces acting on the body balance each other more and more closely till the terminal speed is approached. In this example, a speed of 50% of terminal speed is reached after only about 3 seconds, while it takes 80 seconds to reach 90%, and then 15 seconds to reach 99%. So what it's trying to say is that to reach this terminal velocity, it's not like immediate, and it's not linear, it's not gradual. In fact, when you jump out of a plane, it's terrifying initially. And the reason is because you're speeding up really, really, really fast initially. You then do slow down quite drastically over time. So it's that kind of relationship in that sense. You reach when you reach your 50% of your terminal speed after 3 seconds, but it takes another additional 8 seconds before you reach 90% of it, and so on and so forth. And it gets slower. It takes a while to get to that speed, basically. To be fair, in the scheme of the universe, it's slow, but if that's your frame of reference, it is fast. That is way faster than the gnome we launched with the windmill. Do you remember at what speed we launched Barris? Does anyone know at what velocity we flung our poor Crather, our poor friend? We remember what you did. Listen here, I'm not covering it. I'm not hiding the truth of the matter. I know what I did. Do you know what you did? Where was I?
Precious.
Gazman, thank you so much for your prime. Really appreciate the support. Thank you. This is a test. I flung the gnome and Jack, I did the right thing first. It was my curiosity that bested me. Thank you, Gazman. Really appreciate it. Gazman reminds me of Gazlo. It was one of the main characters I played in Heroes of the Storm. He was good fun. I think I was a toxic player for playing him, though. Higher speeds can be attained if the skydiver pulls in their limbs. In this case, the terminal speed increases to about 50 meters per second. Okay, sorry, let me read that again. Higher speeds can be attained if the skydiver pulls their limbs. Free flying. So this is where they pull them in. In this case, terminal speed increases to about 90 meters per second, which is almost the terminal speed of a peregrine falcon. Ooh! Diving down to its prey. The same terminal speed is reached for a typical 0.3 to 0.6 bullet dropping downwards when it is returning to the ground after being fired upwards or dropped from a tower, according to a 1920 US Army Ordnance study. Chat. When bullets are shot in the air and then they start coming down, they travel at 90 meters per second. That's like, is that like 350 kilometers per hour? That's almost 300 kilometers per hour. That's really fast. That could hurt someone, no? Am I crazy, or is that like... Yes, people die from that. That's why you don't shoot up in the air. You don't? But I see in movies they do that. Is it blanks that they shoot then? In those like funeral ceremonies and stuff. Oh, well, no, sorry. I know in movies they shoot blanks. No, that's not what I meant. But you know what I mean? If and at ceremonies as well. in IRL, in those movie moments that I've seen of ceremonies, do they shoot real bullets in the air? They also shoot blanks. Okay. Fair enough. Something I never thought of. Competition speed skydivers flying head down position can reach up to speeds of 150 meters per second. The current record is held by Felix Baumgartner, who jumped from an altitude of 40,000 meters and reached 380 meters per second, though he achieved the speed at high altitude where the density of air is much lower than that of Earth's surface, producing correspondingly lower drag. Isn't that the guy who jumped out of the, like, technically out of space? It was the big hot air balloon thing. Because that name seems familiar. It is. Oh, okay, nice. That's really cool. Man, we could do a whole YouTube video on this topic. There's a lot here. A lot of really cool facts. Oh, sorry. I have a Bambi's appointment. Okay. Sorry, I have a vet appointment tomorrow. Just making sure I have the right time. Hi, Exie. Someone ditched the capsule and just had balloons on the back, basically, and went higher. Really? I have no... there's a winky face and I have no idea. They did, yes. Okay. It's not bank holiday here, Abendrill. UKians have a bank holiday tomorrow. Am I right in saying that? But we have it on the 1st of June. It's next week, Monday. We have our bank holiday. Yes, our bank holiday is on Monday next week, 1st of June. For us, it's the first Monday of the month. Oh, the new Star Wars movie. I didn't even know there was a new Star Wars movie. I'm so out of the loop of Star Wars. I'm sorry. The biologist J.B.S. Halden wrote, "To the mouse and any smaller animal, gravity presents practically no dangers. You can drop a mouse down a 1,000-yard mine shaft, and on arriving at the bottom, it gets a slight shock and walks away. A rat is killed." Chat, how do we feel about dropping rats for science and study interesting survivability statistics? How would y'all feel about that? How comfortable are we about dropping lab rats into mine shafts? Ay 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 ay. People leave. No, Mr. Tofu, you just came in. Hello, Spooky, Rock Out, Ratwood. Welcome in, everyone. I got a fluster of people commenting during that. High volunteers tribute. You can drop a mouse down a 1,000-yard mine shaft, and on arriving at the bottom, it gets a slight shock and walks away. A rat is killed. A man is broken. A horse splashes. Oh, God. For the resistance presented to the movement of the air is proportional to the surface of the moving object. I just got an image of a horse. Like, maybe it's because I was a horse girl growing up. A horse can literally just stand still and break its leg. They're so fragile. Oh. The resistance presented to the movement by the air is proportional to the surface of the moving object. Divide an animal's length, breadth, and height, each by 10. Its weight is reduced to 1,000, but its surface only to 100th. So the air resistance to falling in the case of a small animal is relatively 10 times greater than the driving force. What they mean by this has got to do with dimensional analysis. What we're trying to show is the ratio of the mass, volume, and surface area. Surface area is a two-dimensional aspect, if that makes sense. So divide an animal's length, breadth, and height each by 10. Its weight is reduced by 1,000, so its mass basically is what they're kind of trying to relate it, because that's 3-dimensional. While its surface is only to 100th, because surface area is only a 2-dimensional thing. So in reality, if you want to have high survivability, you want to weigh as little as possible, and you want to be as wide as possible. Almost contradictory, but there are animals that do that. What animal comes to mind? Something light, kind of like a mouse. Maybe a rat, but something bigger in surface area. Flying squirrel comes to mind for me as well. Yeah, flying squirrel. So flying squirrel is perfect in that case. They have it worked out, exactly. Evolution, a sugar glider, they're so cute. Evolution is really fascinating. Yeah. This is the exact content I needed. Shujin, welcome in, welcome in. Well, I hope you enjoy it. I'm having a lot of interest in this. I'm having so much interest in this, I think this should be a YouTube video. Like, because there's so much fun stuff here. I think anyway. But wait till we get to the maths. I have the whiteboard ready. We're going to go through the derivation. We're going to solve this if we can. Stingray. Oh, goodness. Okay, so here we go. Now we're on the maths part. So we were doing really fluffy, fun stuff, chat, but now buckle up. We're actually going to do math. For terminal velocity in falling through air, where viscosity is negligible compared to the drag force, and without considering buoyancy effects. So buoyancy is a thing that we tend to study in fluid dynamics, which, yes, air is a fluid, but it's so little in air that we kind of can ignore it, is the general expression. We get the equation of Vt is equal to root 2 mg rho ACD. So without going further, V would be the terminal velocity, 2 is a number, m is mass, g is gravity, rho is density of the air, A is the surface area of the object. This one I don't know. Okay, so let's double check. Yep, mass of the falling object, g is acceleration, CD is the drag coefficient. Okay, I did not know that. 2 is a number. I know, Yuli. Did you know? Did you know? How can you drop mice from? Oh, how high can you drop mice from and they live? Oh, spooky. No. We're going to get... When I apply for funding, I have to do a whole ethics review as well. And it's mostly for biology kind of projects. But, you know, we do have to state a few things to make sure. And one time, and I was thinking about exploring like project ideas. And I literally thought, oh, what if bunnies, when their paws are broken... You know the way when dogs have broken legs? I know it's very sad. Let's not cry because every time I think about it, I have tears in my eyes. Oh, God damn it. Have you seen a dog with broken legs in the back? They have wheelies for them to support them. It's really, really nice inventions. But bunnies have a problem. They have a weird motion. They have a hopping motion. And because of that, a wheelie... I've seen a wheelie on bunnies... And they look clearly uncomfortable. Their motion isn't correct. So I was thinking about proposing a project, a design to support Mechabun. Yeah, to help bunnies design a prototype to help bunnies with broken back legs. But as soon as I thought of this project, I had to stop myself because I'm like, I actually have to go through a whole ethics thing before I even propose something like that. And yeah. Anyways, in the end, I cannot. Spiders can be dropped from orbit and survive. That's crazy. Holy shit, Soren. That's mad. Yeah, I want, provided they can survive the environment. That's a good point. Oh, speaking of bugs, I haven't seen the guy. I left the window open. Hopefully he got out. Otherwise, I have a giant stink bug in this room. Like, it was massive, chat. It was slightly bigger than a logic gate circuit thing. That's how big this, in terms of length. I've never seen such a big stink bug in my life. Holy shit. Fucking terrifying. And the buzzing sound it was making was awful. Just awful. Hated it. They might be evolving. They might. And I looked at a map because I started doing research on them, as one does. Get distracted. I started doing research on those shield bugs, and the area I am in is the highest density of stink bugs in Ireland. Nobody warned me before moving into this county that I was moving into the area of where all the stink bugs were. What if he didn't get out and invited his partner? Listen here, mob farmer. We don't welcome this kind of thing. If spiders deploy their silk to act as a parachute, they might. If they're falling, they might panic and they might just throw out their web in hopes it grasps something. Because from their perspective, they probably don't understand what's going on. In reality, an object approaches its terminal speed asymptotically. So this is like the final equation, but it's an expression based, like at the end, basically. It's kind of saying that this is where it acts out. Buoyancy effects due to the upward force of the object by the surrounding fluid can be taken into account using Archimedes' principle. The mass m has to be reduced by the displaced fluid, rho v, and v is the volume of the object. So instead of mass, we use the reduced mass, mr, which is m minus rho v, and this is and in this subsequent formulas. However, it's so tiny, we really don't have to take it into consideration. The terminal speed of an object changes due to the properties of the fluid, the mass of the object, and its projected cross-sectional surface area. So when you're jumping out of a plane, the density of air is going to be different up higher than it is going to be down lower. So you could take that into account, but I think it's very minor. Correct me if I'm wrong. The mass of the object, you can't really change your mass. I suppose you can attach weights and deploy them. Like a rocket launcher, you know? Get rid of the mass when you don't need it or something. That'd be interesting. So if you increase your mass, initially you can reach higher terminal velocity. That's kind of cheating then. So do you know those guys who compete for top terminal speeds and all the contests? If you weigh more, you will travel faster. Yeah. You can poop. That is true. You could deploy your poop. There must be one large poop to really counter the effects. Air density increases, there we go, we were saying about it, with decreasing altitude about 1% per 80 meters. Okay, that's a cool statistic, 1% per 80 meters. For objects falling through the atmosphere, the terminal speed decreases by 1%. After reaching the local terminal velocity while continuing the fall, the speed decreases to change the local terminal speed. So basically, you're reaching terminal velocity quite high up in the sky, let's say, if you're skydiving. And in fact, technically, you'll be going slower and slower the closer you get to Earth. But gravity counterfacts that a little bit as well, though. I wonder, does it counter it completely? Okay, for the air density did matter to him. That is a fair point. Using mathematical terms, defining down to be positive. Okay, so down is positive. That means gravity is in the positive direction. Going down is a good thing. And then going upwards is, so that would be the buoyancy and that would be the drag force. They're negative in our equation. So in mathematical terms, defining down to be positive, the net force acting on the object of the surface of the Earth, F net, is equal to mass times acceleration, which is mg, the weight of the body, minus the drag equation, half rho v squared surface area A C D, with vt the velocity of the object as a function of time. At equilibrium, when we reach those two terms, when they cancel out at equilibrium, the net force is equal to 0. So you can say that 0 is equal to mg minus half rho v squared ACD. This is where we're going to get that equation. We can rearrange the equation and get vt. Oh, that's the whole derivation. Wait, what? We're done? That's much easier than I thought. The drag equation is assuming that rho g and cd are constant. That's true. They're not going to be perfectly constant. We have to be mindful of that. What about microcontrollers? What about them? Onward. I don't really use microcontrollers outside of Arduinos. What are they called? Elegoo ones. I'm not like hardcore fanatic and knowledgeable in that realm. Are all these approximations? Aren't all of these probabilistic? Not so much as probability, but rather they change with height. So the density of the air is going to be very, very different, really, really high up. Gravity is going to be slightly different on the way much, much higher up. But the change is so small, and it depends on the story that we're doing. Of course, as someone pointed out, if we're jumping from space, this is a concern. However, if you were just skydiving, these approximations are so damn good. So we might look at a calculus-based derivation. The calculus-based derivation might be interesting to see. Although this is a Riccati equation that can be solved by reduction by second-order linear differential equation, it is easier to separate the variables. A more practical form of this equation can be obtained by substituting alpha squared for rho ACD over 2mg. By dividing both sides by m, the equation can be rearranged, given the integral of both sides. After integration, wait, what? Why are we doing that? Okay, let me go. Shh, chat, stop talking to me. Stop talking to me. Oh, sorry. Okay. I get it now. So, instead of acceleration, it's the rate of change of velocity per time. I kind of read this part here and I was so confused. I was like, where did this stuff come from? But okay. And the reason why we would say alpha squared is equal to this is just because for the sake of the maths to work, we just say that all of this is equal to something. And the reason why we say it's equal to something is because it's not going to change when we're going to do all the calculus stuff. The idea behind this is a simple mathematical and physics trick that we do all the time. It's this idea that we have loads of constants, h bar, 2 pi, there's something somewhere else. We have so many of these parameters that under the differential equations, they're not going to change. They're going to stay the same. So to make our maths easier, this is a classical thing we do in physics and maths. We just say, let all of that equal to this parameter alpha, and we just let it be. We clearly are making it alpha squared because there's probably going to be somewhere where we need to get rid of the 2 and it just makes stuff easier for us down the line. But it's just a little trick that is done very, very often and just to be mindful and wary of. Hi, Hobbit. Gravity doesn't change much, even as far... No. You're joking. The gravity doesn't change much at ISS? I'm curious now. What is the acceleration due to gravity? Have I told you the story that for the longest time, embarrassingly long, I will admit, I thought the ISS and ISIS were the same thing? That led to a lot of confusion in my life. Oh my goodness, the acceleration due to gravity is 8.7 meters per second squared. That's, I mean, it is still less, but still, I'm shocked at how high it is still. Nope. Have my YouTube chat open. Oopsies, woof. Yep, yeah. Embarrassingly long time. I thought those two things were the same thing. Just to tell you, the news articles did not make sense to me for a very long time. Very, very long time. Okay. We say that G is equal to 1. Oh, okay, because we cancel out the M's. That becomes... Make 1g minus alpha squared v squared. Divide both sides by m. Where did you get the m out of this, though? Ah, because you substituted for this. So... No. Hold your horses. How did he get rid of... There's an M there and M there. Where did he get the M out of this? So this becomes alpha squared rho A C D V squared, I understand. There we go. 2mg flipped upside down. Oh, okay. Where did the 2 go, though, then? Did you think it was a space station or a terrorist group? I don't wish to say. I would like to take my fifth. What is it in what is called in the United States? I plead the fifth. I need to write this down. I'm confused. So I might just do this on the board and try and figure this out. Yeah, I think writing it on the whiteboard would be easier. I'm kind of struggling to understand this, so maybe we'll work it out together a little bit, guys. See if we can figure this out. So, up a bit. Oh. When I first heard them talking about, oh, the Egyptian goddess. So they're saying, so this is the equation. ET equal to mg minus half. Oh, that's how the two... A, D. Now we say that alpha is equal to squared even. Alpha squared is equal to rho A C D over 2mg. Okay? So, just to kind of keep an eye on this a bit better, our next line that they say is d dt is equal to g 1 minus alpha squared v squared. Okay, so let's have a look at this. We get an alpha parameter in here. That's where we get the rho, the A, and the D. Then we have a 2mg term. Doesn't exist here. So we need to have a 2mg on top to cancel off. We're left over with half v squared. The halves cancel. The m's all cancel here, here, and here. We're left with gv squared. G comes out. We have the alpha squared. Okay, I figured. Okay, I get it now. Sorry. Hi, Anshu. Welcome in. Welcome in. I get so confused by it. Yeah, no. So I had to draw it out myself to figure it out. So when we claimed that alpha squared is equal to all of this, what I had to do was I had to see what is the same. So the rho, the A, and the CD. And what were we missing? Half mg. But if you want to put that parameter in there and make it not exist, basically, it has to be the inverse. So half mg or 2mg has to be not divided by on top. So it's 2mg times whatever is left over. We had a rho cancelled, we had an A cancelled, we had a CD cancelled. We're left over with V squared divided by 2. So it's V squared divided by 2, all times whatever was left over, 2mg. Cancelling off a few things. 2 over 2 is just 1. The masses, there was a mass parameter here, here, and here. They all cancel off as well. And we're left with gravity and V squared. So this is our V squared. Where the gravity goes is we take what's in common in both parts of the equation. So it does work out in the end. Whew, let me drop you down, chat. This might be surprisingly one of the better, like I'm speaking too soon. Sorry for zooming in on my face there. Might be speaking too soon, but this might be one of the first Wikipedia derivations that I can follow. I usually can't follow Wikipedia. I think their maths is usually bad. Guerrilla warfare actually meant. That is true. That is true. Same. Okay, so the next part is the equation can be rearranged into dt. Okay, multiplied across by dv inverse. Okay, I can follow that part. Taking the integral of both sides, where dt limit of t to 0, v to 0. Why do you do the dill dash? That's weird. I've never seen that. Do you have a Discord? I do. You're free to thank you, Spooky. Honorary mod. we have a Discord. You're more than welcome to join. After the integration, this becomes t minus 0. That makes sense. 1g ln of 1. Oh, fuck. Oh, lads. Do you remember your integration rules? Okay, no. It's fine. It's fine. It's basically dx of 1 over a squared x squared. Actually, it's a minus a squared of x squared. Hi, Not the Brain. Welcome in, welcome in. So it's natural log 1 plus divided by, oh, okay. I think I remember this, plus c, the constant. That's fine. Where our limits are final velocity and 0. That's fine. Subtracting logs is just the division of the logs. That's fine. I follow on here. Or in simpler form, fuck. Okay, I clearly don't remember my formulas. I don't know how we get from this to this. But it's just, I'm going to assume it's just a calculus rulebook, but I hate that I'm kind of just saying, this is simply what it is. I kind of have to take their word for it, if that makes sense. An inverse hyperbolic tangent. That's lovely. Oh, was it? Where did the G? Why is there only one G? Where did the G squared go? Oh, was it below the? Assuming that G is positive and substitute alpha back in. The speed becomes. Okay, so I get this part. I guess this part. I get lost here. How did we get this? We're summoning the demon to take over our bodies. Oh, see, speaking of summoning the demon and taking over our bodies, I watched a very interesting movie last night that scored 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. I recommend you do not waste your time watching it, but I watched End of Days with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Do you guys know that one? The one with who else was in it? There's a few other top names in it. It released in 1999, and it was about you know, the apocalypse, biblical apocalypse happening in the end of 99. Was it at least funny? Yeah, is that his name? He was an Irish actor anyway. Was he in The Godfather or something? I'm trying to remember. But yes, an Irish actor in there. Father Dougal, welcome in. I think I blocked it out of my memory. Thanks. Oh, I suppressed them. Did I just re-traumatize a whole population? Yeah, so I watched that for the first time yesterday. Oh my goodness, yes. As time tends to infinity, the hyperbolic tangent tends to 1, resulting in the terminal speed being equal to root 2mg rho ACD. It's so interesting to me because we actually substitute that equation into the derivation. So it's a bit weird one, but oh well. I have a vague recollection. I think it was just boring. 11% is bad though. Yeah, it was pretty bad. The reason is because there's a Netflix documentary on with Arnie. It's Arnold's life, and I've read his biography. So I'm not a big fan of the documentary just because it only touches the surface level of the stuff that he covered in his biography. Yeah, I'm a really big fan of him. It's so interesting to me because I don't agree almost in anything that he says, but he's one of those kind of characters that I'm so fascinated and intrigued by. I find him a very interesting human being. Yeah, I really like him. I'm a fan of silly action movies too. Yeah, he was weird, Kip. He was a Republican, but he was like pro-environment, pro-renewables, pro a lot of things. He was a bit of an oddball. Yeah, and interesting. Like, I just love his history and how he got his fascination with America and being an American and what it means to be an American. Very, very interesting persona. I think so, Reserve. That's what I was kind of going to point out, that I think he was in rule of a time where it wasn't as extreme as it is now, or isn't to the extreme. Because as far as I know, Trump and Arnie hate each other, right? They berate each other, or they did anyway, berate each other all the time. They're quite anti each other. Although being anti-Trump isn't, you know, stating much these days, I would say. But still. But yeah, he's a fascinating human being to me. Not like I worship the ground he walks on, or, you know, look up to him in any way. Just, I'm truly fascinated by him as a character. Very interesting person. But yeah, I do recommend his biography. The only sad part is that I bought it on Audible because I thought, because it said Arnie featuring in it. I was like, fuck yeah, Arnie's going to read his biography to me. But he only reads the first chapter, and I was really upset. I was kind of like, oh, damn. So he only reads the first chapter. I was really disappointed. But yeah. It's a really long ass book. One of the longest books I've read. So be mindful. You fell for it. I know. I fell for another scam. Scammed. I know, Alpaca. I got scammed so bad. But yeah, just be mindful. True. I would have to look up to him. He's what, 6'5" or something? Yeah, really, like I said, his life is fascinating. How, like, this push to go to America and Austria, and his reflection of what it is to be an American, and his bodybuilding journey, the acting journey, the politics journey. It was almost like, have you checked your direct debit since getting that audiobook? One of the longest you read? How long was it? Oh, because it was an Audible, I don't know. I think it was like 18 hours. So I don't know. Let me check. I have it on Audible. Although it was years since I read it. So at the moment I'm on Odyssey Stephen Fry. Thursday Murder Club. Man, it was so long ago. Be Useful. I also read that one. Not as good as his biography, I would say. Total Recall. There we go. Can you just tell me? Damn it. I just want to see how long it is. 22.5 hours. Damn. No, his first movie isn't Hercules. It's the bodybuilding one. So right before Pumping Iron, he did one other movie about a character in the bodybuilding world. I forget what it's called. I think it's something cheesy like Heart of something. I'm not sure. But then was Hercules next after that? But yeah, he did that movie. Pumping Iron came out then, so he was a big name, and then he had Hercules. The Dungeon Crawler. Oh, okay. Is it any good? What's that in pages? I'm sorry, I don't, like I said, this was one of the things that I read in an audiobook, and I got scammed because I thought he was going to read to me. Imagine going to sleep with Arnie speaking to you. Yeah. But I got scammed out of the first chapter. But do you know who's putting me to sleep? Stephen Fry, though. Really, I really recommend. If you guys are thinking about audibles, I highly recommend anything that Stephen Fry reads. I really enjoy his voice. And just his mannerism and stuff. Really recommend it. I'm almost finished this. So that means, have I read like all his proper books? I didn't mean to. I wouldn't say I'm like a hardcore Stephen Fry fan, but it seems I've read a lot of his books now. Because it's good or bad, it cures insomnia. Hi, Lady Spookums. 160 stream streaks. Online it says 655 pages, but that seems a bit little, I think. The average book is usually 300 to 400 pages, so that is almost double a normal book. That is a very large book. My basic economics book was just under 600 pages, and that is a very large book. Hercules in New York is his first movie, according to IMDb. That's weird, because I do know he did do a thing before Pumping Iron. Am I getting them mixed up? Or did I get the order wrong? Did he do Hercules first? I really thought he did the Pumping Iron, sorry, the bodybuilding movie, and then Pumping Iron, and then Hercules was, okay, here's a good way. Was Hercules before Pumping Iron or after? No, I know Hercules in New York. That part I do know. Wasn't Pumping Iron a docu? It was a documentary, but it was not a proper one. Like, it's not true. Well, that makes sense. Hercules was 1970. Pumping Iron was 76. Okay. You got it right. You got it right. Hercules must have been first because the other movie came out a year before Pumping Iron, or was recorded a year before. So Hercules was 1970. That was his first movie then. There we go. Confirmed. Tofu was spreading rumors everywhere. Jesus, I must have a list of Arnie movies because I think I'm almost there. I want to watch Sixth Day again because I watched that when I was a kid and I didn't understand it. Ooh, sorry, I hit my mic. List of all Arnold's movies. I don't know why we're talking about Arnold movies after what is this we're doing? Terminal Velocity. Okay, Hercules in New York, I need to watch it fully. The Long Goodbye. Stay Hungry. That's the movie I'm on about. Stay Hungry. That was the bodybuilding movie. Want to watch that for sure. The Villain. Okay, I haven't seen that. Scavenger Hunt. No. Conan the Barbarian, Conan the Destroyer, Terminator, Commando. Red Sonja? Is that like a Conan the Barbarian offspring kind of thing? It's similar to Conan. Okay. Okay, I'd never seen that. I didn't know that there was another one. Okay. We'll check that out. Raw Deal, I have not seen. Need to watch that. Predator, Running Man, Red Heat. I think I need to watch Red Heat. Twins, obviously. We've seen that. Total Recall, very good. Karen Cobb, very good. Judgment Day. Dave. Oh, he just features it as himself. The Last Action Hero. Beretta's Island? I don't know about that one. Franco Colombo. Oh, he's in it. Okay. True Lies, Junior. Watch those. Terminator. No, 2D, 3D. Battle Across Time. Oh, okay. It's a theme park. That's not a proper movie. Eraser. I haven't seen that one. Jingle All the Way. I love that one. So many people think I'm crazy for liking that one. Batman and Robin. End of Days. Disaster. The Sixth Day. Dr. Dolittle 2? Wait. Oh my god, he voices the Arctic Wolf in it. I didn't know that. For all intents and purposes, Lady Conan the Barbarian. Okay, fair enough. Oh my god, he was in Around the World in 80 Days. I used to love that movie with, what's his name? Jackie Chan. I loved this movie as a kid. I watched it religiously. How did I know no Arnold was in it? Who did he play in? Yes! Oh my god! I can't believe I didn't... I cannot believe I never recognized him in a chat. Oh my days. So much... Oh. I love it. I love it. Okay, so there's like at least 5 more movies I need to watch still. Yeah, I have 5 more movies that I haven't seen of Arnie's. I have a lot of catching up to do. Right, that's my next 3 weeks sorted. Resistor's good for what it is. He plays a US Marshal who protects witnesses. Oh, okay. Interesting. I'm assuming that because these movies didn't do well and I don't know them well enough, I'm going to assume they're not, you know, I shouldn't expect much kind of thing. Would that be a fair statement? That as an Arnie fan, the fact that I never heard of those movies is a sign. Total Recall is so good. Yeah, that's the one where he's. Yeah, no, I like Total Recall. It was good. Good popcorn movies to veg out to. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think Sixth Day is on our list. I have seen Sixth Day, but I saw it as a kid, so I want to see it again as an adult and give it a proper review. But I've also still a bunch of sci-fi movies to watch. I think Nathan doesn't want to watch Sunshine with me. So we might watch Sunshine with Twitch community instead. That might be a movie night I'll set up too, because that might be a thing. All right, I kind of want to go over one more derivation if it's okay with you guys. There's another derivation that looks very, very different. So I'm going to follow Jeffrey Chasnov, who does a derivation. Now, for TOS reasons and all of that, I'm just going to look at what his notes say, and I'm going to sit here and figure out his notes. But I'm going to share the link and give credit where it's due. Have you hit the adult drinks yet? Nope, no adult drinks yet. And it's actually quite late already. I started my stream quite late today, so we could hit the adult drinks if we want. Oh, I love Kindergarten Cop. I really like it. I wanted to do the drink and derive joke. Okay, will we take a quick break here, chat? I might get myself an alcoholic beverage. Don't judge me. And we'll be back and we'll derive one more set of equations, but we'll probably be working off the whiteboard. Yeah, and we'll see if we can derive the terminal velocity equation, but in a different way. Yay, I'm an enabler. You silly goose. Don't humor Spooky. I'll see you guys in a bit. Explain the rate of change of current and frequency. If the frequency of your current is changing more rapidly, the rate of change of current, the steepness of the slope increases. So as you increase the frequency of your wave, you're increasing the rate of change of current. And the opposite is true. If your slope is less steep, i.e. you're decreasing the frequency, you're also decreasing the rate of change of current. So when we look at the equation V induced is directly proportional to the rate of change of current, if we're increasing the frequency, it means that we're increasing the rate of change of current, and we're also then increasing the voltage that is induced. If we keep the rate of change of current, i.e. frequency, constant, it means that if we increase the inductance, we also increase the induced voltage, or the opposite is true. If we decrease the inductance, we decrease the voltage induced. So remember, if there is more current flowing through, that means you have less resistance. If you have less current flowing through, it must mean that you have higher resistance. This is why the reactance is directly proportional to the frequency and the inductance. Here is a little mathematical example of how we would use it. Let's say in our AC circuit, we set the source to 3000 Hertz. The inductor is 10 millihenries. By subbing in our values, 2 times pi times the frequency, which is 3000, times the inductance, which is 10 by 10 to the minus 3, we get an answer of 188.5 ohms. Reactance is the same unit as resistance. This is really important when you get to a little bit more complicated circuits where you have capacitors, resistors, and inductors, and they're all out of phase with each other, and you have to keep track of something called impedance. But that is another video for another time. I hope you found this educational and useful. Happy circuiting. What do you think, Bambi? Did you learn about inductors? This is what happens sometimes. I teach a subject in the most advanced ways, and then I question the most basic physics, and I need to pause in the middle of a video to think thoroughly, and I have to go back to the most fundamental physics to make sure that it's all right in my head. Have you wondered how thermoses keep your coffee hot? Relatively speaking, or how liquid nitrogen dewars are able to keep liquid nitrogen at minus 196 degrees Celsius. To answer this question, we need to cover the 3 fundamental ways heat transfers. A little bit of quick revision: heat is a form of energy. In a basic introduction to physics, heat is a form of energy that makes the molecules go faster. We define temperature as the measurement of the average kinetic energy of the particles. If you're wondering what's going on my lap, I have a bunny asking for pets right now. Hi, Bambi. Heat transfers in 3 fundamental ways: conduction, convection, and radiation. Let me explain all 3. You want to go? You want to come back up? You want more pets? The first one we're going to cover is conduction. Conduction is basically how heat transfers from one object to the other because it's in contact with it. Say I take these markers. If I start heating up this marker that's in close contact with this marker, which is close contact with this marker, eventually, through conduction, the heat will travel from the blue marker all the way to the green marker. Here is a diagram of basically a copper wire and a little flame here at the end, and I'm heating it up at 100 degrees Celsius while the other end is 20 degrees Celsius. Heat travels from hot to cold, and so over time the heat is going to transfer to the 20 degrees Celsius. The rate at which this heat transfers, i.e. energy per unit time, which is also the unit for power, is directly proportional to the cross-sectional area, i.e. if you slice a wire, it's going to look like a circle in there, pi r squared, and delta T, the temperature difference. Meaning that if you increase the temperature difference between the two, let's say this is 200 degrees Celsius while the other remains at 20, heat will transfer faster. However, heat transfer is inversely proportional to length. The longer the copper wire, the longer it takes for heat to travel. It's proportional to K, which is the conductivity constant of the particular material. In the case of copper, it's 380 joules per second per meter per Kelvin, or per Celsius, because it's delta T, not just T on its own. This means that when you subtract Kelvin from Kelvin or Celsius from Celsius, the value is going to be the exact same. Another way that heat transfers is via convection. The example I always use is a beaker of water on a hot plate. The particles at the bottom of the beaker are going to heat up and they're going to rise to the top. The cold particles at the top are going to go back to the bottom. And so you basically have a bit of a funnel going on. This is also the principle of how wind is created. When you look in a town, certain areas might heat up more than others, depending on the infrastructure, shadows, all that good stuff. And so one certain area might heat up faster than another. Heat transfers from hot to cold, and so the particles will move from the hot area to the cold area, quite literally creating wind. I don't have an equation to explain convection, and the reason is there isn't a simple equation to explain it, unfortunately. There's actually a lot of equations, and for us to truly study this field, we would have to study fluid dynamics, which we're not going to do today. And the final form of heat transfer that we study is radiation. This is basically how we obtain the energy from the sun, because as you know, via conduction and convection, you need matter for heat to transfer. Radiation. I'm a changed woman, chat. Changed woman, I tell yous. I got a cup of tea. Here's proof. Trying to show you the steam. And it's Earl Grey, hot. Earl Grey, hot, I tell yous. And I got a jammy donut. So, gonna have a jammy donut. And then we're going to, what's my goal here again? And then we're going to derive. So no drinking and deriving today, anyway. Mulled wine, sure. Who drinks mulled wine in a heat wave? Spooky. Hi, New Wave. Welcome in, welcome in. Cheers, chat. I don't like the donuts with cream in them. It has to be just jam. Strawberry or raspberry, I'm not too sure. It's the little donuts. The little pastry store. Chef's kiss. Is it the best? Oh, I have white powder under my nose. The little pastry store is ratio to the sweetness and the taste of it is just perfection. Is it the tastiest donuts and pastries I've ever had? No. But the ratio per price and per, you know, donut and pastry, phenomenal. We don't have too many Marks and Spencers here. We have a couple, but I've never lived anywhere where I had easily access to Marks and Spencer. Hi, Valiant Daughter. Oh, you were playing Resident Evil Village. Nice. Clip it, ship it, it's sugar, honest. It looks bad. It does look bad. Did Valiant Otter just redeem first? After 2 hours and 40 minutes of streaming. Chat. I think that's a record too. That might be a record. I was the first one here. Thank you, Angel. Appreciate it. Happy Donut Day. Bought a fresh packet of blueberries for Bunzo, and I gave her one just there. And her butt was twerking. That was a good blueberry. It was a good blueberry. I'm totally clean now, chat. Just gotta wipe off my pants real quick. All done, all done. Alright, so, I suppose now the thing that we're going to do is I'm going to look at a derivation from someone else, pretty much. And without any backup or any explanation, we are going to kind of figure out what they're doing, if that makes sense. So just a couple of things is that they have different notations for things. So I want to stick to it. So they have a symbol K that they use, and I'm concerned about that. So we know that the velocity is down, minus mg acting downwards, and upwards is minus kv is positive. Mg is negative. Oh, he doesn't mention what K is. Maybe I can't do this derivation. There's just too many things that just not stated. Sorry, I'm just looking through a whole bunch of videos or notes just to get the derivations out. I mean, obviously Organic Chemistry Tutor is going to have a bomb video on it. Always love Organic Chemistry Tutor. But I don't think they have everything proper. Maybe I don't have a video then. Is K a group with all the constant? Maybe, but it doesn't define it properly, and I'm not happy to do something on that topic if he doesn't define it properly for me. I guess that's the only real derivation I need to know, to be honest, is this one. I mean, it's a decent enough approximation. And you don't really need to know much more of where it comes from. You know? Let me show you. This one. So the net force is equal to the weight acting downwards minus the drag equation. Oh, sorry. My face is full of sugar. Happy Sunday, Professor Tofu. How are you keeping, your heart? Sorry, I'm burping a little bit. So yeah, it's just the weight minus the drag at equilibrium when the net is 0. F net has to be 0, which means MA has to be 0. So we can rearrange the equation. And we have the parameters. I think that's actually as straightforward as it gets. Maybe we might need to look into the drag equation. Where does the drag equation come from? That might be a bit more where we might have lacking parameters. In fluid dynamics, the drag equation is a formula used to calculate the force of drag experienced by an object due to movement through a fully enclosing fluid. Sugar burps are perfectly acceptable. I'll take that. The equation is attributed to Lord Rayleigh. Rayleigh? I always don't know how to pronounce his name. Rayleigh? Am I pronouncing his name right? I pronounce it Rayleigh. Who originally used L squared in place of A, and L being some linear dimension. So he got it really, really close. It wasn't area based, it was he assumed it was linear based. The reference area is typically defined as the area of the orthographic projection. Orthographic is great. But it's kind of like, if I'm not mistaken, orthographic projection is a shadow projection. Am I right in thinking that? Oh no, the black and white has fecked up here. Means representing three-dimensional objects in 2 dimensions. So basically, it's if you light a shadow on something and the projection of the shadow on a 2-dimensional piece of paper is the orthographic projection. Would that be a fair statement, chat? Correct me if I'm wrong there, if anyone knows any better. Hi, Clem.
No, thank you. We don't want any more visitors, well-wishers, or distant relations.
And what about very old friends? Why is the physicist such a diva? Because their attitude is such a drag force. Thank you so much for the 30 months. Welcome in, welcome in. Ra. The other letters are there for sure. Oh, so rally. Like rally? Like to rally someone up? Good to see. How are you keeping? I hope Subnautica's been treating you well. Have you tried Subnautica 2 yet? For other objects, for instance, a rolling tube or body of a cyclist, A may be significantly larger than the area of the cross-sectional along any plane perpendicular to the direction of motion. Okay. Airfoils use the square of a chord length as a reference area. Oh, okay. So it really also depends on the shape of the thing. There's a couple of considerations. A could be a bit dodge, is what they're kind of highlighting. The drag coefficient CD is defined in combination with a choice of reference of area and captures both skin friction and form drag. If the fluid is a liquid, CD represents Reynolds number. If you guys remember about the bumblebee discussion we had. If the fluid is a gas, CD depends on both Reynolds number and the Mach number. Ooh, that's really, really cool. For sharp-cornered bluff bodies, like square cylinders and plates held transverse in flow direction, this equation is applicable to the drag coefficient as a constant value when the Reynolds number is greater than 1000. The Reynolds number is the one where it's laminar flow versus turbulent flow. So it's a number that determines in which flow state the fluid is in. I finished 2 days ago. Oh, wait. So Subnautica 2, you can finish the whole story already? I assumed because it was early access, it was very like early days what you could do. But that's interesting. I didn't realize you can finish Subnautica 2. So it's early access, but it's done? It's only a partial story. So when it comes out full release, it'll be a full... Yeah, because I didn't want to play it fully yet. I just wanted to test out the game, play a little bit and stuff. But yeah, I hope to play it fully on release then instead. Probably solo. I have nothing against Fizzy, like I said. But I want to kind of play the story and get immersed in the story and then have a game. Again, maybe with CC Anomaly. I'm almost there with channel points with Cora and Lana, and I'm going to make them. I'm going to make them play Subnautica. Wait for it. So this is mostly Reynolds number and Mach number. What's the Mach number though? I don't know about the Mach number. Mach is just the speed of sound. Is a dimensionless quantity in fluid dynamics representing the ratio of flow velocity past a boundary in the local speed of sound. It is named after the Austrian-Czech physicist and philosopher Ernst Mach. Where m is the local Mach number, use the local flow velocity with respect to its boundaries, either internal, such as an object immersed in flow, or external, like a channel, and c is the speed of sound in a medium, which in air varies with the square root of the thermodynamic temperature. Okay. I understood the words they were saying. I don't know why that clap was really loud. It scared me. But do I really know what they just said? Do you know what I mean? It's a warp speed for planes. The last bit of the early access is very shaky. I'd let it bake more based on what you've said. As in, like, don't bother finishing the game and kind of enjoy what I was doing now. Like, I enjoyed doing the bit with Fizzy, and I think I'll wait for the full game release and try it out fully. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, no, I'll play it on release. It was nice to play it a little bit early, see how beautiful it is, and the setting has changed. But we'll probably play it. Okay. Man, this is so cool. I never studied this stuff. I'm sure, like, I get it why I didn't. It's not part of the physics curriculum. This is definitely more engineering, but... Heard a bug sound again. Chat, the stink bug is after me. Get me. Oi, oi, oi. Oi, 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 chat. Keep hearing a sound, and it sounds like a squelching sound a little bit. I'm really worried. Oi, oi, oi. Okay, it's fine. It's gonna be fine. There's no bug in this room. If we believe there's no bug in this room, there is no bug in this room. All right. We covered interesting stuff about terminal velocity. Enough to kind of do a fun little YouTube video, I think. A little short. There's two shorts we could do. We could do a little bit stats and history of it and the concept, and the little bit of a derivation part of it. And just do the short derivation. There is the calculus version, but again, the calculus version introduces parameters that the guys in the videos don't explain. So I would never be happy to do that. So I might go into more videos or more online support and see how the terminal velocity is derived properly, because I really hate this idea of introducing a parameter or a letter that you don't know what it means. That's a bad thing to do. Just a general teaching or presentation idea for sure. Now, how does chat feel about me playing Mass Effect while wearing a USCSS Nostromo t-shirt? Controversial? Upsetting? What do we think? Any concerns? Let me put this away. We're totally fine with it. Just remember that in space, nobody can hear you scream. Good. Actually, I'm going to write something here. While I remember. I know what, neither are, so we are good. Oh, Linus, I highly recommend you watch Alien. From 79? I think it was released in 79. Yes. How you doing, Hal? We wave to chat. Hal says hello. It's an unofficial collab. I'm more scared of the Beetlejuice trousers than it. What's wrong with my trousers? What is wrong with my trousers? They don't look like the Beetlejuice trousers. Take that back. Take that back. Quick, say Beetlejuice one more time. How many legs? I mean, I guess they're quite wide. I don't know. Oh, a lot. Jesus, look at the size of this. I don't know how much of my leg I'm allowed to show TOS-wise. But that's... Oh my god. At least 4 legs. Yeah, I didn't realize just how baggy those pants were. They're cute though, and they're comfy. They're nice and airy. You know, hot girl summer and all that. That's a whole head. Yeah, absolutely. My demon core can fit in my pants. That's a weird sentence. My demon core can fit into the sleeve of my pants easily. No, I did not make that better. That still sounds bad. You know what I meant, chat. What, did Beetlejuice wear baggy ones? What a chat up line. I remember he had striped pants, but I don't remember him having baggy pants. That's news to me. That one is news to me, I will say. Mass Effect. Hopefully I can stream for a long time, actually. I have work tomorrow. I have a dentist tomorrow. I just ate a jam donut. My dentist is going to be disappointed in me. But it doesn't matter. I had a jam donut, which means I'm not hungry for a while now. Maybe we can stream a good session. Good morning, Professor. Have you gone over the change in the climate model that was reported? Nope. I haven't heard about it. Clearly out of date on the stories. Mark, I know. It doesn't have fucking pockets. My pants don't have pockets. YouTube, thank you so much for hanging out. We didn't do too much. We did research and look at some cool facts about terminal velocity. I think I might make a really, really short YouTube video. Maybe just YouTube short series. So if you guys want to keep an eye on that, make sure you do. But I'm going to shut off the YouTube because I'm going to go play some Mass Effect with my Nostromo t-shirt. And it's a nice way to end this Sunday afternoon, I think. There's not enough light summer pants for men. What about slacks? Aren't